All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Michelle Gamboa. And for this session, I'm going to orient you on the laboratory tests that you need to know about blood physiology. So, I understand you're already done with the lecture now with Dr. Olivar regarding blood physiology. Okay, so these are the procedures that I'll be discussing and that you have to know, as well as the results or the indications why we are requesting for these tests. No? Remember that you will be having your practical exam, and during the practical exam, you might be given a picture of the steps or the materials, no, that we will be using in the procedures that I'll be discussing, and you might be asked regarding the clinical importance of it, no? Not necessarily the steps or the procedure, kasi hindi naman tayo medtech, no? We are not going to study this na as medtechs, no? Ang importance of this would be the indication and the clinical correlation. Right? So before we start, do we have medtech graduates here? Can you type in the chat box? Hindi naman ako magtatawag, pero para lang at least, kasi type your name, ayan. Kasi para during the, di ba, next week, you'll be having your face-to-face laboratory. So make sure that you'll be dividing yourself into groups, and each group, meron at least one medtech na student, no? Para mag-guide yung the rest of the group. Okay, thank you for responding, yung mga medtech graduates natin. Alright. So first off, you have to know how to collect the blood so that you'll be having a specimen that you can use. Kasi you'll be performing the procedures, eh. So you need blood. So how do you collect the blood samples? So can you please look at the picture and can you give a comment? Anybody? What can you say about the picture? Judiel?
Doc, gumamit po siya ng procedure called yung ETS po. Tapos, ano ba yung sa ethical po ba na side or
Anything. Sige.
hindi
Any comment?
Hindi po naka-gloves?
Okay. That is one. Very good. Ano pa? Ano pang napansin nyo?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Gumagamit po siya ng EDTA tube for hematology purposes.
Okay. So, kaya yun yung lavender top. That's the EDTA. Yes, Francisco, Eliza. You're raising your hand.
Doc, parang hindi masyadong. Yes,
Yes.
po, Doc.
Hindi masyadong.
Parang hindi po masyadong naka-anchor. Parang hindi po niya sinusupport yung evac po.
Okay. So, as you can see, yung subject natin or the patient, nakahawak na siya dun sa mismong site, no? So, dapat relax yung subject. Okay? Or the patient. Now, si Judiel mentioned that, of course, the phlebotomist is not wearing gloves. And why is that important? Because the universal precaution is that we consider all persons' blood and body fluids to be infectious. Okay? So that's why, kung kayo next week you'll be performing this, no, especially now, the time of pandemic, you have to wear gloves, okay, before you extract the blood. So this is how you properly position the patient or the subject. And as you can see, the phlebotomist now is wearing gloves. No? Again, in this picture, the Vacutainer was used. No? So you can see yung Vacutainer, hindi siya kasi direct na syringe method. No? So Vacutainer, this is the Vacutainer Eclipse blood collection set. So as you can see, this is the needle. This is the tube holder needle. Tube holder with a needle.
May plebo na.
Sorry. Is there any question or comments? Meron yatang-
Magpe-phlebotomy po ba kami next week or tanggal po yun?
I think you need to perform the extraction. Kasi for you to have a specimen,
Dok, ano pong system yung gagamitin? Yung ETS po or yung traditional?
yung syringe lang.
Syringe mo, okay.
Okay? Meron pa bang questions before we move on? Wait ha. Hindi ko kasi makita yung Okay. So, here, this is again, the vacutainer. Wait lang ah. So, I'll have to, may question kasi dito, do we bring our own syringes po? Wait. Wait ha, I'll stop first. I need to clarify muna. All right, so I called our secretary. You were oriented daw by Dr. Valerio on what to bring, but regarding the materials, we will be the one providing the syringes, the gloves, and everything. Okay, even the cotton balls and the alcohol. Okay, is that clear? All right, so the vacutainer method, no, it's a safe method, and we use that for multiple collection of blood. Kasi you can just use you can insert the test tube, ito, kung anong top, no? So like in this picture, you see lavender top, and if you need if you're going to perform a lot of procedures, no, yung mga iba-ibang tests that needs different tops, like this one, no? So you can just insert the test tube here in the vacutainer holder. Okay, so these vacuum tubes are designed to draw a predetermined volume of blood. So hindi mo kailangang i-stop kasi kusa siyang magsa-stop, no, pag napuno na siya. Okay, so it also reduces the potential for breakage and specimen spillage. Okay, so as I mentioned, these are the different test tube tops, no? So you have the black top, which contains sodium citrate. We use this for ESR. The blue naman contains sodium citrate as well, but we use this for coagulation testing. No, yung red, it's plain, no? Wala siyang anticoagulant. And kanina, we already mentioned the lavender top. It contains EDTA, or the ethinyl diamine tetraacetic acid, no? We use this for CBC and blood typing. Now, next is gray. It contains potassium oxalate with sodium fluoride, no, used for glucose testing. And lastly, you have green, which contains heparin, and this is used for blood chemistry and virology test. Now, this is the different types of blood lancet, no? So, these are the capillary tubings, and this is the proper way to hold the lancet, no? Except that, again, he's not wearing gloves, no? And then make sure that before you prick or you activate the lancet, you sterilize the site first, no? Using yung cotton balls with alcohol. Okay? Now, after pricking, you wipe off the first drop of blood. And why do we wipe? What's the reason? Ba't kailangang i-wipe yung first drop of blood?
Para po
It's contaminated po with like tissue substances.
Aside from that, sige, sino pa yung isang sumasagot? Judiel, you want to answer?
Yun na rin po yun, Doc. Yung nasabi po sa amin. Kailangan punasan para baka po kasi yung unang ng blood is contaminated.
No. Aside from that, to avoid also dilution of tissue fluid, no, we always perform that wiping off yung first drop of blood except for one test, no. That is the bleeding time. No, pag bleeding time yung gagawin nyo, do not wipe the first drop of blood. Later on, I'll be discussing the procedure. No. Then allow the drop of blood to be drawn into the collection vessel by capillary action. So kusa din siyang mapupuno. No? But you have to make sure that you avoid air bubbles. Right? So this is the first two tests that I'll be discussing, the RBC and the WBC count. So familiarize yourself with the different test tubes. The different pipettes. Okay, so this is the RBC pipette, the WBC pipette, and the Sally-Hellige pipette. Okay, so you can see that the RBC pipette, it contains parang a red pellet. Okay, and yung WBC may white dyan. And the Sally-Hellige, it's just a straight pipette. Okay, so the first two procedures would be the RBC and the WBC count kasi they are similar. So, sasabay ko na yung orientation. So, you can see that in this pipettes, meron siyang 0.5 mark. Okay? So, this is the RBC kasi nga may red and this is the WBC pipette. So, first you have to draw the blood up to the 0.5 mark. No? So, meron kasing nakakonect dyan na parang tourniquet. So, the medtechs are familiar here. May nakakonect na tourniquet and then nakakonect din siya sa syringe. Yun yung ipangsasak. Dati kasi, sinasak siya through the mouth eh. Pero, syempre, meron ding tourniquet na nakakabit. And then, merong parang sucking tip. Pero ngayon kasi, syempre, because di ba yung universal precaution, so yung syringe na lang yung pinang-aspirate natin. So again, up to the 0.5 mark and then again aspirate the diluting fluid. No, for RBC, we use the Hayem's, no, up to the 101 mark. And then you shake the pipette by hand perpendicular to its long axis. So ito, i-cover nyo tong both ends with your fingers. And then you shake it. Yan, perpendicular. Okay? For approximately 3 minutes. And then, the WBC naman, same procedure, but this time, different naman yung diluting fluid. So, for WBC, we use acetic acid as diluting fluid. So, remember that as well kasi pwedeng side question yan sa practical exam. Now, you will use this to charge the counting chamber. But before you charge the counting chamber, you have to discard the first 4 drops of blood. So this is the counting chamber and there is a cover slip on the top. No? So yan yon. So you charge on both sides, no, of the hemocytometer. And you do this by allowing the solution to move under the cover slip by capillary motion. Then after you have charged it, you let it stand for 3 minutes. So ganito yan. Yan, ganyan yung pag-charge. Both ends. Okay? Or both sides. Now, if you look at under the microscope, this is what you're going to see. No? Dun sa RBC, kasi ito yung mga squares niyan. No? So under the low power, you locate the central large square. So ito yan. And this would contain 25 medium squares kasi you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 then yung rows. So 5 times 5, this is 25 medium squares. And under the high power, you focus the 4 corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the center medium square. Can you follow? So ito yung sa RBC ha, kasi nakikita nyo ba tong large corner na squares, 1, 2, 3, 4. Diba? Yan yung sa WBC count. Later on, discuss natin yan. But for the RBC count, you just have to locate the central large square and locate for the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 4 corner medium and the center medium square. Is that clear? Meron bang question? Okay. So, this is what you're going to see, another view. No, this is the center large square. So as I mentioned, locate for the 4 corner medium and the center medium square. So you have to count in this 5 medium squares, no? Count the cells. So this is what you are going to see. So under high power, no? So how do you count? To ensure that the cells which are on or along the limit lines are not counted twice, no? Or are not missed during the count, there should be certain rules that have to be observed. Now, what is that? So number 1 is you count the cell in any part if it's lying on the line, even on the triple line. So you can see this is the triple line. Okay, so ito yung mga triple lines. Count the cells that lie on the triple lines on the upper left. So upper left, upper left. So pag ganun, systematic. So going to the right and then down, going to the left, down, right, until you finish all the squares. Is that clear? So do not count the cells lying on the lower right lines. So ito yung lower and right. Okay? So lahat lang ng cells na magpo-fall on the upper left. Okay? Now, you should count on this direction. No? And then record the cells counted in each of the 5 medium squares. You add it all and then repeat on the opposite side of the chamber. So remember, meron kang 2 sides ng counting chamber, di ba? This one at saka itong isa. Okay? So once you're done with the other side, move to the opposite side. Okay? Now, for the WBC naman, as I mentioned, dito nyo naman ilolocate yung mga cells, no, sa 4 corner large squares. Okay? Now, ganun din, i-add nyo lang lahat. And then how do you compute for RBC count? You get the average number of cells in 5 medium squares multiplied by the area factor of 5 times the depth factor of 10 times the dilution factor of 200. Now for WBC, count the average number of cells counted times the dilution factor of 20, the depth factor of 10, divided by the area, which is 4. Kasi nga 4 yung large corner squares. Malinaw? Malinaw ba?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. So for the red blood cell indices, we use this for classification of anemia. So one is mean corpuscular volume. This represents the average volume of red cells. And this is used to describe the RBC size, whether it's microcytic, normocytic, and macrocytic. No? So for mean corpuscular hemoglobin, this approximates the hemoglobin content in the red cells, no? Describing the chromaticity of the RBC. So we usually describe it as normo, hypo, and hyperchromic. So sa color kasi yon. Okay? So lastly, the mean corpuscular hemoglobin concentration, which represents the degree of hemoglobinization and maybe to describe the chromaticity as well. So these are the normal values. Okay? So next, hemoglobin determination. Again, we use the Sally-Hellige pipette. No? Ito naman, iba naman yung mark niya. Kanina, di ba doon sa RBC, tsaka sa WBC, you have the 0.5 mark. Di ba? So, yan yun. Now, this one, sa Sally-Hellige pipette, you have the 20 mark. Okay? So, the normal hemoglobin for male is 14 to 16 grams per deciliter. For female, it's lower, no? 12 to 14 grams per deciliter. And why is it lower in females? Anybody?
Kasi po nagme-mens yung female.
Yes. So, tama, no? Monthly kasi, nagme-menstruate yung female. So, aside from that, meron pa bang ibang reason? Any other reasons why mas
Doc, I think, sorry,
Yes, Hanya.
there's a specific enzyme, lesser po yung production ng erythropoietin ng females compared po sa males po.
So aside from that, 'di ba, yung females, they are mas lower, mas smaller yung build than the males. Okay? Now, this is the procedure how to perform the hemoglobin determination. So you have here the hemometer tube, no? This is the comparator block, yung may kulay, no? So place hydrochloric acid into the hemometer, no, to the 2 mark on the gram scale using the dropper. Now draw the blood up to the 20 millimeter mark on the Sally pipette, no? So ito yung 20 millimeter mark. So you will draw the blood up to here, and then next is that you place the blood into the hemometer tube containing the acid. So ilalagay nyo dito yung blood. And then carefully draw up the mixture and release. So draw the mixture, release 3 times, thereby as if you are rinsing the pipette. No? Then let it stand for 10 minutes at room temperature. Then after that, you gradually add water to the tube, no, using the dropper, and mix by using glass rod until the hematine solution matches the color, no, on both sides of the comparator block. So this one. Now read on the gram scale of the tube and convert to grams per liter by multiplying by 10, or to millimoles per liter by multiplying to 0.153. Okay, so but in the advent of yung mga newer technology, so we have the digital hemoglobinometer. So we rarely perform this procedure na. So kaya ito ng mga digital, or sometimes yung mga lab, syempre mas high-tech na yung mga Coulter or yung mga advanced na machine that easily determines the hemoglobin level. No? So next is the hematocrit. So for hematocrit, this allows visual estimation of the volume of white cells and platelets that constitute the buffy coat between the red cells and the plasma. So these are the types of capillate. You have blue we use for venous blood, and the red for the capillary blood. So again, so you have to prick and then wipe off the first drop of blood, and then draw up to the 3/4 full, no, ng capillate. So this one, medyo lagpas siya sa 3/4. Okay, so you get 2 specimen, no? 2 capillates that you use na you fill 3/4 full. And then you seal one end of each capillate with clay and then paraffin, and then you label. Okay, so after that, you centrifuge for 5 minutes at 10,000 RPM. So this is the centrifuge. So you put it on one side, pero syempre para mabalance, nandun sa kabilang side, diba, you're going to get 2 specimens. Okay, so make sure it's balanced, kasi pag hindi, nababasag yung capillate. Okay, so place it on one side and then sa kabila yung isa para balance siya. Okay, so this is what you're going to see after the centrifuge, no? So you will see that yung yellowish dun sa upper would be the plasma, and then dun sa lower naman, these are the packed RBCs. So dyan yung i-read yung hematocrit. And in between that, you have the buffy coat. Again, ano nga yung composition ng buffy coat?
WBCs and platelets.
Very good, Alwen. Okay? Sige. So after that, now you're going to read, no, anong level ng hematocrit niya. So ito yung i-read nyo, no? So you can use the microhematocrit reader wheel. Okay? So you just place the 0.0 here, no? The most inferior ng packed red cells and the superior dito sa line. And then i-read nyo na kung anong level. You can also use the microhematocrit reader card, no? So just place the most inferior portion of the packed red cells, and then you read kung nasaan yung superior portion of the red cells. And the normal male hematocrit is 42 to 52%, and for females, it's 37 to 47%. Okay? So the next test is the erythrocyte sedimentation rate. So what's the principle here? So the ability of the red cells to aggregate which is measured by the rate of fall of RBC in a column with a specified period of time. So this test is based on the fact that if you have an ongoing inflammatory or mga necrotic processes, it will alter the blood proteins. That would result in aggregation of the RBCs and makes them heavier and more likely to fall rapidly when you place it in a special vertical test tube like this. This is the Wintrobe tube. Okay? So the faster the settling of the cells, mas higher yung ESR. Okay? So this is what you are going to see. There would be a ReLU. Now, what is ReLU? Yung clumps of RBCs joined by surface attraction only. But this is, remember, yung ESR is not diagnostic of any particular disease, but rather this is an indication that the disease process is ongoing and you must investigate further. No? We also use this for monitoring progression of inflammatory diseases. For example, you have a patient being treated with steroids. Paano mo malaman kung nag-i-improve na yung pasyente mo? Initially, kung mataas yung ESR, yung value, pag nag-i-improve yung pasyente mo, then you will see a decrease in the level of the ESR. Okay, so the normal value for male is 0 to 10 millimeters per hour, and for female, it's 0 to 20 millimeters per hour. Okay. Next test is the reticulocyte count. So remember, reticulocytes are the youngest form of erythrocytes, no? That can be seen in the peripheral blood. So you need to see at least 1,000 RBCs, no? Counted, and the percentage of reticulocyte is determined. So the normal value is 0.5 to 1.5%. So the degree of reticulocytosis approximates the rate of RBC production. Pag mas mataas siya, mas mataas yung RBC production mo. And this is true for those patients with anemia. No? And you see here the dark blue granules. These are the RNA precipitates. Okay. Next test is the osmotic fragility test. In your SGD, di ba, diniscuss natin kanina yung isotonic, hypotonic, hypertonic solution. Tama? Okay, so this is what we are going to do. We are going to suspend the RBCs in the different types of solution. This is the centrifuge machine. Now, you can see naka-label yan kung anong solution, no? So this test, the osmotic fragility test, would assess the function of the red cell membrane. No, yung hypertonic solution would result in crenation, while hypotonic solution results in hemolysis. No? So you see the RBCs here at the bottom, no? They are suspended in a series of tubes containing hypotonic solution, no, of sodium chloride, which varies from 0.9 to 0%. Okay, so you need to observe and see the initial hemolysis. No? Saang tube yung na-observe nyo na may initial hemolysis? So ito, nakita nyo, di ba, dito sa third tube, meron na siyang initial hemolysis. No? Okay, so the initial hemolysis is the first tube with pink supernatant fluid with some RBCs at the bottom of the tube. Okay, and the complete hemolysis is the first tube with red supernatant and there are no RBCs at the bottom of the tube. Okay, so in this picture, this is the initial. And nasa na yung complete? This one. Kasi ito meron ka pang RBCs. Eh. Okay, so can you follow this one? Wala nang RBCs at the bottom. You follow at this point? Any questions or comments, clarifications? Wala naman akong nakikita sa chat box. Meron lang nag-apologize kasi few minutes late. Extended a bit of our previous class. That's fine. Okay. No questions? Clarifications?
Sa akin po galing yung na-late. Sorry po.
Ay, okay lang po. No problem. So, clear naman so far. I'm not going too fast.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Doc.
All right. So next we proceed with the blood typing. So here this is the method would be direct, forward, or cell typing. No? So what we use here is the commercially prepared anti-sera. No? So yung anti-B, it contains antibodies against B. Ito naman, antibodies against A and antibodies against B. So you would detect and identify the ABO antigen on the RBC of the patient. Okay, so anong gagawin nyo? You need a slide. So yung slide na to, there's a well. Make sure hindi siya mag-mix para hindi ma-contaminate. Okay, so you just put 2 drops of blood, then add the different anti-sera. And then you mix with end of the applicator stick. Make sure that you use different applicator sticks. No? Huwag yung ginamit nyo sa A, yun din yung gagamitin nyo sa B. Okay? Now, what you need to observe is the presence of agglutination. So you can also tilt the slide back and forth until it's well mixed. No? So you observe for agglutination macroscopically and microscopically. So pag walang agglutination, ito yung makikita nyo. Macroscopically, and this is microscopically. So if there's agglutination, makikita nyo nagkakaroon ng clumps, yung cells. So macroscopically, with your naked eye, you can see this. And this is what you see microscopically. Okay? Now, this would be the examples. No? For blood type A, so sabi natin, these are commercially prepared anti-sera that contains antibodies. No? So kung type A ka, anong sinabi ni Dr. Olivar? Anong antigen meron sa type A?
A antigen.
A antigen po.
And what antibodies do you have?
B. Anti-B po.
Okay. So this one, yung type A, meron siyang A antigen. Ito may antibodies against A. That's why magkakaroon ka ng agglutination. Maliwanag. Okay? Ang anti-B kasi, antibodies against the B antigen. Kaya wala siyang agglutination dito sa type A. Kasi ang meron siya, the A antigen. Now for type B, so magre-react siya because it has the B antigen, magre-react siya sa antibodies against B. Kaya dito siya sa yellow nagkaroon ng agglutination. If you are type A and B, you have both A and B antigens, right? So magre-react ka pareho sa antibodies na present dito, anti-A and anti-B. And if you are type O, di ba sabi natin walang antigens na present dyan, so there's no agglutination against the antibodies present in the anti-sera. Maliwanag? Okay. So another method is the direct, forward, or cell typing. So this one, we use the known serum A from blood type A and serum B from blood type B. So what is present in serum A is antibodies against the B, di ba? Antigen. And in serum B, you have antibodies against the A antigen. O dito muna tayo sa type A. So if you're type A, you have the A antigen and you have antibodies against the B antigen. Okay? So kaya dito siya nagkaroon ng reaction. Okay? Maliwanag. Hindi to reverse typing ha, kasi nakikita nyo, di ba, type A, serum A. Ang nasa serum A kasi antibodies. Okay? So serum B has antibodies against what? Serum B has antibodies against
Blood type A.
Okay. So kaya dito siya nagkakaroon ng reaction. And then for type B naman, if you are type B, since it has the B antigen, it contains antibodies against A antigen. Now, if you are type AB, pareho siyang may A and B antigen, again, magkakaroon siya ng reaction. Type O, syempre again, walang antigen, kaya wala siyang reaction sa mga antibodies present dito sa serum A and serum B. Maliwanag? Clear? Now we go to the reverse or serum typing. So kanina dito sa direct, forward, or cell typing, ang known dito would be antibodies. Ang dinedetect mo is the antigen. No? Pero dito naman, sa reverse or serum typing, ang principle is the RBC with known ABO antigen. So ito, yung mga antigen ang known. No, ang hahanapin mo would be the antibodies. No, you detect the antibodies. So sample would be plasma or serum, but serum is preferred because it contains less interfering proteins. Now, look at this picture. If you are type B, di ba, you have antibodies against the type A. Okay? So sa type B, anong meron ka? Antibodies against cell A. Sa cell A, nandyan yung antigen. Kaya nagkakaroon ng agglutination. If you are type A, you have antibodies against the B antigen. So sa cell B, di ba, yung B antigen, kaya nagkakaroon siya ng agglutination. Okay? Now, if you are type O, anong meron ka? Wala kang A and B antigen, pero meron kang antibodies, no, against the A and the B antigen. So again, sa cell A, meron siyang A antigen, B antigen, kaya nagkakaroon ng reaction sa antibodies present in this type O blood. Okay? And if you are type AB, anong meron sa'yo? Wala kang antibodies, di ba? Kasi meron kang parehas na A and B antigen. So hindi ka nag-form ng antibodies against this antigen. Kaya wala kang agglutination. Is that clear? That is reverse or serum typing. Maliwanag? Meron bang question? Okay. Now, we move on to the cross-matching. So, we perform this before we transfuse the blood to make sure na walang magkakaroon ng transfusion reaction, which is life-threatening. Okay? So, again, mag-collect muna ng specimen from the patient, no, from the recipient and the donor para i-cross-match. Okay? So, this is the blood bag. Now, for the major cross-match, what we use is the donor cell, no, and the patient's plasma or serum. So sa minor cross-match naman, we use the patient's cell or the donors to the donor's plasma or serum. Now, cross-matching, as I mentioned, is always performed prior to blood transfusion of RBC products. Usually, the ABO and RH typing of the patient by tube method is performed, no, with the compatibility test. And what is the principle behind? Yung preformed antibodies present in the patient's serum will react with the donor's RBC antigen. Kasi di ba sino yung sasalinan? Yung pasyente or yung recipient. Nandun yung mga antibodies. Anong ita-transfuse mo sa kanya? Like for example, this one, packed RBCs. So anong nandyan? Antigen. Di ba? So magre-react yung donor's RBC antigen doon sa patient or recipient's antibody. So a cross-match would detect antibodies in the patient's serum that will destroy the donor's blood if you transfuse it, no, na hindi compatible. So what do you see or what do you check again for agglutination? So check for if there's agglutination, do not transfuse. If there's no agglutination, then you may transfuse the blood. Okay? So I think this chart was already shown by Dr. Olivar, no, during his lecture. So just to emphasize, no, the blood type AB is the universal recipient. Alam nyo na yan. No? Ang daling tandaan, AB, universal recipient. In major cross-matching, we use the donor cell and the patient serum. No? So, pag AB, wala siyang antibodies. Diba? Kasi present na nga yung A and B antigen sa kanya. So, hindi siya nag-form ng antibodies. So, pwede kang mag-receive ng red blood cells from any other blood type. Now, what about the universal donor? No? It's blood type O. No, madali ding tandaan. Donor type O. Daming O sa donor, di ba? O, kaya blood type O. Tandaan nyo dyan, wala siyang antigen. No? So, no antigen is introduced in the patient so you can give their red blood cells to any other blood type. Kaya, universal donor siya. Maliwanag ba yon? Andyan pa ba kayo?
Yes, Doc.
Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Alright, sige. So the next test is the bleeding time. No, sa bleeding time, you have two methods. You have the Dukes method as well as the IV method. No? So what's the principle? Di ba yan? Ipapuncture mo yung finger, no? Yung tip ng finger or the fingertip. So upon puncture, the capillaries will bleed until the defect is closed by vasoconstriction and aggregating platelets. No, you can use the fingertip, no, pag sa adult, or sa mga babies, you can use the sole or the earlobe, no? Now, what you are going to do is after the capillary puncture, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina, di ba? All the other tests, you wipe the first drop of blood except for the bleeding time. So, this one, do not wipe the first drop of blood but you record the time of puncture. So, pagkatusok mo, orasan mo na. After 30 seconds, you blot the first drop of blood, no? Here in the filter paper. Taking care that the filter paper does not come in contact with the skin. And then, after 30 seconds, i-blot mo ulit, no, onto the paper. Repeat until there is no blood clots on the filter paper anymore. Okay? And then you record the bleeding time by counting the number of blots, no? You multiply it by 30 and then you divide it by 60 kasi meron kang 60 seconds in 1 minute. Okay? And the normal bleeding time is 1 to 4 minutes. Okay? So as I mentioned, this is the IV method. It's basically the same, but the only difference is the site, no? As compared to the Dukes method. Kasi di ba sa IV method, you use the antecubital. Sa Dukes method, you use the fingertip, the earlobe, and the sole pag sa mga babies. Okay? Ganun din. Blot, and then count the number of blots, multiply sa 30 divided by 60. Okay? So the next test is clotting time. So this is through capillary method. Meron din kasing ito yung sa capillate. This one is the slide method. Okay? So remember the normal clotting time is 2 to 5 minutes. And the basis is that the whole blood will form a solid clot when exposed to a foreign surface. And this foreign surface would be the glass tube, no? However, this test is rarely requested anymore because it has been replaced by the more accurate PTT or the partial thromboplastin time. Okay? So, what do you do? Ito naman dito sa capillate, you break, no? After mo makolek, be-break mo yung end. Medyo nakakatakot kasi pwede kang masugat, no? So, i-break mo siya until you see the fibrin threads. Yan, no? Puputol-putulin mo siya. So, mas easier for you to use the slide method. Kasi with this, you just place a drop of blood here. So, mga 2 to 3 drops. And then, yung lancet na ginamit mong pang-prick, no? You just stroke it up, no? In the upward direction using the lancet every 30 seconds interval. And the end point of the coagulation cascade, you know that is the formation of fibrin clot. So you have to record the time when the fibrin threads first appear. Alright? Now, next is the clot retraction time. So, ito naman, i-observe nyo yung kung kailan nagkaroon ng presence of clot, no, na nag-retract. So, it involves the interaction of platelets, fibrinogen, as well as the surface factors. So you observe this, but you will not perform this, no? Theoretically lang for you to know, we observe this after 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, and after 24 hours. Pero sa laboratory nyo, you will not be performing this. So this helps determine the percentage of serum to total blood volume, which is about 40 to 60%. Now, in the serum, remember there's no clotting factors because it has been consumed by the clotted blood. The plasma is the one that contains clotting factors. So yan, just to show you the clot, formation of clot. Okay, so next is the platelet count. So very hard to do, very difficult and inaccurate because you know that it's the platelets, they are very small, no? Kasi they are only fragments of your megakaryocytes. No? So this is best done with an automated hematology analyzer. Okay? And the normal value is 150 to 450,000. So dito, especially nowadays, very important we monitor this, especially for patients with dengue, no, pag bumababa. So minomonitor yan serially. Okay? So an indirect count using a stained smear is a simple and reliable way of estimating the platelet number. Okay, so we move on to the coagulation. No? So you have here the prothrombin time. No? This test for the integrity of the extrinsic and the common coagulation pathway. So initially, the plasma is incubated at 37 degrees Celsius, and then you add the calcium. No? What is the function? Why do we add the calcium? Anybody?
Agent.
Sorry, can you speak louder, please?
It's a chelating agent, Doc.
Okay, so it will reverse the effect of citrate. Kasi remember, there's an anticoagulant present in the test tube. No? So to reverse the effect of citrate, and that will enable the blood to clot again, so you need to add calcium. No? Tissue factor is also added, and the time the sample takes to clot is measured optically. Okay, so measure the time it takes for the plasma to clot, and this may also be called an INR test. No, makikita nyo doon sa pinaka yung result, you have the INR. Ano yung INR? It's International Normalized Ratio. So we also call it the ProTime INR or the PT INR. So in healthy people, yung INR of 1.1 or below is considered normal. Okay? So usually, especially dun sa mga pasyenteng naka-anticoagulants or dun sa mga prior to OR, ina-anticipate mo kung duduguin ka ba, you need to request for blood products ba, no? Dugo ba yung OR mo? Or if you have a patient with higher INR, no? That means the longer it takes for the blood to clot kasi mas thin yung blood, no? The thinner the blood. So most people on warfarin, yung mga target INR nila is between 2 and 3. And yung those peoples with disorders such as yung atrial fibrillation or may mga DVT, no? Yung mga blood clots sa legs or in the lungs na binibigyan ng mga anticoagulants, no? Para wag magkaroon ng thrombosis or wag magbara, no? So yun yung mga target INR mo. No? So you give them blood thinners as well. No? So this could be seen in patients with blood thinner medication such as yung mga liver disease, vitamin K deficiency, inadequate levels of protein that causes the blood to clot. Diba yung protein causes the blood to clot? So yun yung mga pag inadequate yung protein mo, so mas tumataas yung INR. No? So on the other hand, if you have a low INR, so pwedeng yung mga pasyente na may high intake of vitamin K, such as yung mga liver, yung mga broccoli, kale, soybeans, or yung mga may intake ng mga pills, no, combined oral contraceptive pills containing estrogen, and yung mga hormonal replacement therapy. Okay? So yun yung importance niyan. And the normal value would be 11 to 16 seconds. Now, for the partial thromboplastin time, this test naman, the integrity of both intrinsic and the common coagulation pathway. Now, in order to activate the intrinsic pathway, you need to add this, no, phospholipid. No? It's an activator, such as yung kaolin, no, and calcium to reverse, again, the anticoagulant effect of the oxalate. So you mix that into the plasma sample. And this test is measured until a formation of thrombus or yung clot. No? So this test is termed partial due to the absence of tissue factor from the reaction mixture. So the normal value is between 25 to 39 seconds. Kasi inoorasan nyo, di ba, kailan magka-clot yung blood, kaya time. So seconds dapat. Now, lastly, you have to know how to prepare a blood smear. Diba? Mag-extract kayo ng blood and then, kung may practical exam kayo, so gagawa din kayo ng smear, ng blood smear. No? So why do we need a blood smear? So usually we use it for differential count. Nakikita nyo pag when you request for a CBC, Diba? May RBC count, WBC count, then makikita nyo yung differential count. Kung anong types of WBCs. Titignan nyo kung anong elevated kasi bakit ba yun importante. If you have a patient with infection, you would want to know what type of infection. Is it bacterial, viral, parasitic, so that you'll be guided on what to give. No? Kung bacterial, you need to give antibiotics. Kung viral, syempre supportive, hindi mo kailangan mag-antibiotics. Okay? So how do you prepare a blood smear? You place a small drop of whole blood on a very clean slide and you hold a second slide, no, at the angle shown. Look at the picture. Now, while maintaining contact with the bottom slide, you pull the top slide back to contact the drop of blood, no, which will spread by capillary action. And then, you maintain a firm contact with the bottom slide and push the top slide in one motion, no, like this, forward, to produce the smear. Huwag masyadong madiin, baka makrush naman yung cells. Okay? So, you have to make a thick film and a thin film. Saan ba natin ginagamit yung thin film? So, kailangan manipis, no? Kasi you need to see the cells. So, monolayer of cells for easy differentiation and counting of cells. While the thick film is used for what? Anybody?
Malarial smear po.
Okay, very good, John. So, this is especially important for diagnosis of malarial infestation. You screen a large amount of blood at given time when looking for the parasite. No? So, but for the exact identification of the species, you need to go back to the thin film. Okay? Now, for the differential count, this is how you systematically read the cells. No? So, downwards to the right, upwards to the right, down. And when you reached 100, yung number of cells should be 100, no? For you to be able to say that finish na yung differential count mo. And what you are going to see are the different WBCs, no? So you have neutrophils, you have eosinophils, basophils, monocytes, and lymphocytes. So you have to be familiar with the pictures, no? Kasi pwede kayong bigyan ng picture ng ganyan sa practical exam. Okay? And then magtatanong clinically about that. No? So kung halimbawa, bigyan kayo ng case, elevated yung neutrophils. So what type of infection? No?
Bacterial po.
Yes. So pag eosinophils, ano naman ang type ng infection?
Parasitic po.
Parasitic po.
Very good. Also, pwede ding tumaas yan sa mga allergic reactions. Basophils.
Alam ko po yung allergic reactions.
Yes. Okay. Monocytes. Ano bang function ng monocyte?
Phagocytic po.
Okay, very good. And then for the lymphocytes?
Viral po.
Alright, very good. Ang gagaling. Okay, so yan ang makikita nyo. We will have your slides prepared. May mga demo doon. Make sure na sisilipin nyo. No? Kasi pwedeng magbigay ng mga pictures. So yan, other types of WBCs. These are the platelets. You can see they are just small, no? So ito, like I said, yung differential count, you have to count, no? Kung ilan yung, kasi kung traditional way that you'll be using the differential cell counter or what we call the Schillings. Naabutan nyo pa ba to? Sino ba yung mga ano natin dito?
Yes po, Doc.
Naabutan nyo pa, Judiel?
Opo.
Nakahawak ka pa?
Opo.
Yes po.
Saan ka ba?
Meron pong application sa cellphone.
Oh, edi.
Pero yung sa amin po, Doc, yung ganyan po mismo. Yung counter po talaga.
Okay. So at least you were able to experience. Kasi usually advent of mga advanced machines, no, hindi na yan ginagamit. Pag di ba, itatapat mo lang yung test tube sa machine, yung mga culture machine, tapos lalabas na lahat doon ng results, no? But ito nga, yung traditional way would be, hawak mo to, yung fingers mo naka-press dyan sa mga buttons na yan. So habang nakasilip ka sa microscope, nandyan yung fingers mo. So kung ano yung makikita mong cells, pinipress mo lang yan. Okay, ayun yung mga pictures kung anong types of cells na makikita mo. And tutunog yan, di ba, pag maka 100 ka na. Tama?
Yes po, Doc.
Alright, sige. So I think that's the last slide. So these are the procedures that you need to perform, no? All groups divided, di ba? Make sure merong isang medtech in each group for yung mag-guide dun sa other non-medtech members of the group. And so ito yung mga i-perform nyo. And lastly, I'll be showing a video. So watch nyo muna yung video and then I'll ask if you have questions later on. Wait, i-maximize ko lang yung share. Paano nga ba yung pag-share computer sound, no? Tama?
Yes, Doc.
Okay.
Doc, wala pong sound na
So we have different instruments here. We have 3 kinds of pipettes. We have the Sally pipette. This is used to determine hemoglobin.
Can you hear it na?
An RBC pipette, by simply eyeballing, you can identify it easily by looking at the bulb that contains a red pellet. And lastly, we have here the WBC pipette, which contains a white pellet on the bulb. We have here the Neubauer and the cover stick. Okay. So what you just need to do here is simply get blood, okay, first. Let's see on the red blood cell, okay. You can see here a mark of 0.5. So just simply get a sample of blood up to this mark and then use the diluting fluid, which is what we call the Hayes diluting fluid, up to the level of 101, which is just above the bulb. For the WBC count, use the WBC pipette with a white pellet on the bulb. Again, get the sample of blood up to the level of 0.5 and use the diluting fluid, which is now an acetic acid, up to the level of 11 mark here. After doing that, just simply mix the blood on a figure of 8 and then discharge or disregard the first few drops of blood and then simply put few drops on this Neubauer. Okay. Now, you need to cover it with a cover slip and then count the WBC or the RBC under the microscope. What we have here on this side is what we call the Schilling's counter. You could see here, there are different white blood cells on each counter. This is used to count the different leukocytes. So you have here the basophils, eosinophils, the myelocyte, juvenile, the stubs, the segmenters, the lymphocytes, and the monocytes. Once it reaches 100 cells, there will have a sound ding, and that's it. That's the end point of your WBC count or differential count. On this side, you can see the instrument used for hemoglobin determination. Again, for hemoglobin determination, you will use a Sally pipette, okay, with the diluting fluid called 0.1 sodium hydrochloric acid. What you just simply need to do there, the end point here is that the sample here you will put blood and then add the diluting fluid. The endpoint should be that the color of your blood sample will be the same on the comparator blood, which is this color. Okay. Once you reach this color, just check what level it is, because if you could see, there are marks here which will tell you the level of hemoglobin of the blood, of the patient's blood. Lastly, we have here the Wintrobe tube, which is used for erythrocyte sedimentation rate. What I will demonstrate now is the microhematocrit method. So we have here a capillate tube. You can see a blue line on its tip. It contains an anticoagulant, and this capillary tube is used for venous blood. What you just simply need to do is to draw blood, okay, approximately 3/4 full. After which, seal the end with a clay. So this is the clay and the paraffin. Then put this capillary tube on a microhematocrit centrifuge. And after doing the centrifuge, you will have here the microhematocrit capillary tube breather. Just simply put the bottom of your red blood cell. Okay. So if you would notice, after centrifuging your capillary tube, you have here the red part and then a little whitish color on this part and the clear fluid, which is your plasma. Okay. To get the hematocrit, just simply put the bottom of your red part of your blood at level 0. Then check for the topmost portion of your red blood cell or your packed red blood cell. So in this case, the topmost portion of your packed red blood cell is at the level of 80, which means that your hematocrit is 0.8. Forward or cell typing, the method uses known anti-sera. So as you can see here, we have anti-A and anti-B. This is to detect and identify the ABO antigen on the red blood cell. So what we will do here is just simply put first the known anti-sera. We have anti-A, and anti-B. Then just simply add the blood sample. What you need to observe there is the formation of coagulation. Simply mix the known anti-sera and the blood sample. And wait for the agglutination to form. So how to check on that? Just simply lift this and then wait for some time. So here, you will see that on the anti-A, there is no coagulation form. while on anti-B, there are form of coagulation or clot formation. So the patient's blood type is blood type B. What I will demonstrate now is the reverse, or also known as serum typing. This test is for the presence of naturally occurring antibodies in a person's blood against APO. So the principle behind is that the red blood cells with known APO antigens are mixed with the patient's serum to detect antibodies. So as you can see here, we have the serum of the patient's blood. We are going to put the A cell and the B cell. So I will put few drops of blood here. This is an A cell. And another a B cell on the patient's serum. So same with the direct blood typing, what we just need to do is simply make sure to mix it well. Note for the presence of agglutination. So as you can see here on this slide is that there is an agglutination on cell A, which means that the serum of the patient contains an anti-A or an antibody against A antigen. And there is no agglutination on cell B. So the blood type of the patient is blood type B.
Okay, so in creating your peripheral blood smear, you have to place, this is your spreader slide, you have to place a drop of blood in the slide, and then you have to make at least 15 to 30 degrees angle. And then you have to spread it like that. So the appearance of an acceptable peripheral blood smear should have at least the presence of feathery edge, which is tongue-like or bullet shape.
This is how to do clotting time slide method. The principle or the endpoint of coagulation cascade is the formation of fibrous blood. So the steps are, you have to use the lancet and the slide, and then prick the fingertip using the lancet. Then wipe off the first drop of blood. Record the appearance of the second drop of blood. Place the second drop on a slide immediately, and at 30 seconds, run the tip of the lancet once or twice through the drop of blood on the slide, looking for formation of fibrine threads. Repeat at 30-second intervals and record the time when the fibrine threads first appear. For the steps in venipuncture, these are the procedures. Number 1, you have to properly wash your hand before and after the procedure. Then introduce yourself to the patient.
Nandito po ako ngayon para kailangan ng tulong or kailangan down. Request ko kasi yung mga nagpapuluan.
Then, properly identify the patient and inquire about the allergy, whether it is latex or cleansing solution, and act accordingly.
Wala po ba kayong allergy sa mga latex? Kahit anong allergy sa mga alcohol? Sa powder?
Then organize the proper equipment. Correctly position the arms, then apply tourniquet. Then you have to locate the appropriate vein to be drawn, then release the tourniquet, which is the one loop. To cleanse the venipuncture area in a circular or outward motion, allowing to air dry for 30 seconds. Then reapply the tourniquet 3 to 4 inches above the venipuncture site, taking care not to contaminate the cleansed venipuncture site. Then isolate and anchor the selected vein using the thumb. The thumb should be 1 to 2 inches below the site and pulling taut. Inspect the needle and insert needle level up. Anchor the syringe, blood drawing system, and when drawing blood, pull back the plunger smoothly without using the vein. Adequately fill the syringe. After that, release the tourniquet, apply the gauze, then remove the needle smoothly and quickly. Appropriately apply pressure to wound site, or you may ask the patient to do so. And use the appropriate safety technique to blunt or sheath the needle and discard needle into sharp scuffing. Don't forget to re-examine the wound site, ensuring bleeding has stopped. Then you may apply band-aid or gauze when appropriate. And don't forget to properly dispose biohazards, sharps, and non-biohazard cover. For the steps in venipuncture. Alright. So that's the end of the video. Wait, I'll stop sharing. Okay, so at this point, do you have any questions? Any comments, clarifications?
Ma'am, are we going to bring lab manual?
Yes, you can bring your manuals kasi that will be your guide. The procedures are all there.
Thank you.
Doc, what if po if sa iPad lang po, okay lang po ba yun?
Yeah. Just make sure yung mga gadgets nyo hindi mawawala. Kasi
Okay.
madaming nawawalan ng gadgets. So please take care of your belongings.
Okay po, Doc. Thank you po.
There's a question here. In my pre-med, we did not really have any exercises like this. So will we be guided? Yes, there will be a facilitators. We will be there to guide you. No, if you have questions regarding the procedure, we will guide you. Don't worry. No.
Doc,
Yes, yan.
should
Ina,
we,
Ina ba to?
yes, Doc, Ina,
Mm-mm.
should we bring a lab gown or no need?
We actually do not require, but if you have to protect what you are wearing, kasi there would be spillage of blood, no, sometimes tumatalsik. So to protect that, you can wear your lab gowns.
Okay,
But it's
thank you,
not
Doc.
required. No. We will not require you to buy the lab gowns. So any reference book? Ano po reference? Yung manual, that's my reference, yung manual, and then added lang yung ibang, yung clinical side. How about po for those who don't have uniforms yet, are we allowed to wear our undergrad? I'm not sure about the uniform. No, please ask our secretary, si Ma'am Kat. You have her contact number naman, di ba? I'm just not sure about if you are going to be allowed to wear yung your pre-med or the undergrad white uniforms. How about gloves? We will provide you with the gloves. Don't worry about the materials. Yung lang sinabi yata ni Dr. Valerio, what did she mention that you need to bring?
Just the copy of the manual po for the procedures.
Okay. So yun lang. But the materials you will all you will be provided with the materials. Any other questions? Clarifications? So there's no more question in the chat box. No more raised hands. Okay, everything's clear?
Yes,
Alright.
Doc.
So thank you everyone for listening and I'll see you next week. Please. Oh, I have a question. Si John Christian, yes. John, what's your question?
Yung tanong ko lang po ay, kung magsusot, kailangan po ba may nameplate kami kung papasok?
Ideally, yes. So we can properly identify you. Pero kung wala naman, syempre wala kang choice. If you have ID, then you can use your ID.
Okay po. Thank you po.
Okay. Any other questions? So if none, again, thank you everyone for listening. And we will see you next week.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.